Thanks for clicking the link. What do you reckon? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Not if you can be miserable. Just enjoy the video. I really appreciate the fact that you've come this far to see this. So yeah, just watch the video. It's only about 8 or so minutes, and it could just get you thinking about your food. Cheers. So just think about all the food that you eat in a day. That's the first and foremost. What do you have for breakfast? What do you have for lunch? And what do you have for dinner? That food has been farmed somewhere, whether it be in this country or in a country abroad. Some of you might not even know, and some of you might not even care. And all of those things are absolutely fine. But what does make a difference is that if you don't have farms from this country, the country that you currently live, you're going to lose that choice of where your food comes from. You're going to lose the quality and assurance that British farms are held to. We're held accountable by the government for our standards, and that will possibly go. And it will get to the stage where you might find what you're eating is a poor quality and a higher price, higher food miles, not quite as sustainable, not quite as nutritious. It might have more pesticides put on it. It might be the fact is, abroad there's a lot less regulation than what we have here. So if we have less farming in this country, we're more susceptible and open to imports. We have to have more imports to feed the nation, which will then mean possibly substandard products, definitely products you don't know where they come from. So that's something we've always been very good at here, is making sure that we've got the right quality, the right sustainability, the right ethics, the right standards, and the correct value for money. And that's something that farming has always done here. But if you don't even care about food, okay, you might be sat here like the Labour guy who was on the news, was it yesterday, so the former advisor saying we don't need farms. And you might be in his camp. And if you're in his camp, that's your choice. But let me sort of tell you a reason why you might possibly change your mind. If there's no farms in this country and you don't care about where your food comes from and you think you can just import it, you would have a point to a degree. But what won't happen is importing won't help the price of your food, and it won't help the quality of your food. It will actually make it so that companies, different countries or whatever, do with it what you will be able to dictate the prices to you. So you'll be buying a substandard product, quite likely, definitely not as good as what we can make here most of the time. It's travelled further. It's not supported your local businesses, your local economy. It's not contributing anything to your areas. And actually, by having no farms left in this country, if you want them to go and not be supported by the nation, then you'll find that your green spaces won't be green anymore. You'll find that all of these things that you associate with the countryside and all the wonderful animals and everything will all be gone. Farmers are custodians of the countryside. It's what we do. Every piece of countryside you see, excuse me, like lovely rolling fields, grasslands, meadows, corn crops, lovely, combine harvesters in the summer, and all these things that you might take your children to see or visit farms to see, it'll all be gone. You might be wondering why it will be gone. You might not have heard the news. You might not have seen anything. But generally, a lot of farms have been pushed into a bit of a corner this last couple of weeks because of the new inheritance tax laws. And generally, over time, farmers have been able to pass their farms tax-free onto the next generation. And that's got to be in some people's bonnets, in the sense that the general public who aren't farmers have to pay inheritance tax, death duty, whatever you want to call it, on their things. And that is true. And so we've been very lucky that we've been able to do that. But you must ask yourself why. Why for so long have farmers even been able to pass their land tax-free on to the next generation? The reason is because there's a very fundamental strong case for doing so for the good of the nation. And what I mean by that is previous governments and leaders have understood that British farms underpin the needs of this nation. And the needs of this nation are so great and growing that if you took farms away, you're going to actually risk the security of everybody's food in this country. So for a long time, farms have been given some exemptions because the government understand that actually most farms don't have cash money in the bank. All they have financially is what's in their asset of the land. And if you have to sell some of that land to pay a tax bill, or in some cases all of that land, that farm will be gone to somebody who's probably very unlikely to farm it. It's probably going to be going to somebody who's buying it for different reasons, and it's going to lose a family farm. So one of the biggest problems with that is we're going to lose farms that produce food currently, because to pay the tax bill they're going to have to sell. Most farms will have borrowed money, business loans, mortgages, and things like this. So it's not quite black and white. It's not, oh, it's okay, we will sell one field, that will pay the bill, but we'll keep the rest of the farm in the house. Quite often there'll be as much money, 50%, 70% borrowed money on all of that asset, because farming isn't very highly profitable. And so because of that, we've made sure we've kept it going, kept afloat to pass the next generation. And actually the only real reason farmers do what they do is because we want to pass it to the next generation and let them keep the farm and let their children keep the farm. It's just something that we do, and it's ingrained into us. We must keep it for the next. If all farmers wanted to be rich and loaded or whatever, like everyone seems to think we are sometimes when you hear the other sides, is there would be no farms. We'd all sell, wouldn't we? And we'd go off to the Bahamas and, enjoy living in the sunshine for a few weeks and have a lovely holiday and all this stuff. But we're not like that. We're not built that way. We're not interested in setting up for a quick buck. It's more than that. It's more than what you own. It's the security of your family. And also farmers are really, really proud of being pillars of society, and it's one of the things that keeps you going. You like it. We enjoy producing things that people eat and people enjoy and people love you for it, and it's a real lovely feeling. I just hope that the government doesn't take that away from people, because I just think to myself that there's a real problem here. And yeah, I think it's really hard to explain to people that have had to pay inheritance tax on their properties and had to sell them and things. But it's more that when you're eating your food, we all need food, and we all need local food economy, and we all need to be producing food in this country. Otherwise, we're going to be really, really stuck. So yeah, there's my take on it. So if you're someone that, let's say, we've never had any interest in farming at all, this is still news for you, and you might hate farms. Some people do not like farmers, and that's fine. But take all that out, forget about that, forget I'm a farmer. You might despise all farmers, but you can't despise eating food, because you need food. It's essential, and we need to be producing it here to keep the standards and the qualities and the nutrition and the health of our nation the way it is, because that's the most important thing. The second you rely 100% on importing, which can happen, just look at what happened with energy bills when the war started in Ukraine and things like this, when we were like over a barrel because we import all this, all the supplies from these countries. The price of wheat skyrocketed because we don't produce enough here, and we had to rely on not getting it from the areas of Ukraine because they couldn't export it. Look at those and times that by more, because the only reason we survived those things is because there was availability in this country of stores of these products. And yeah, we did still have to import. And I'm not necessarily saying stop importing, although that would be best for the British farms in a lot of cases. but I'm just saying that you don't want to rely 100% on it, because the second it's the only option, they've got you over a barrel and they'll charge you what they fancy, and you'll be completely at their mercy. And yeah, I'd be really happy if you could share this round, because it's quite straightforward. It's not preachy, and all being well, it might explain things slightly easier. If you want some full information, obviously I'm not an expert, go and talk to the experts. But generally, let's try and save English farms, British farms, and all the people that we love who need really good food.